All right, Chris, we're here to talk about the new electric Porsche, the Porsche Taycan. But before we do, I just want to rewind and sort of get the state of play on Chris Harris's brain on electric cars. Do you like them? Do you hate them? How were you approaching this review when you thought, my beloved brand Porsche has gone electric?
More open-minded than people give me credit for. If an electric car is good, I'm going to say it's good. I just think there's been a lot of electric vehicles over the last 10 years that have been sold as the future, and they don't seem to fit into anyone's life. You have to fit into the car's life, and at that point, I think take a taxi. So I'm not interested in Nissan Leafs and all that sort of stuff. I just don't think they have the range to support anyone other than someone that lives in town and wants to doodle about. Then Tesla comes along, right, and they change the game completely. But what frustrated me about Tesla is that they're so obviously cars for people that don't like cars. They're hugely impressive, they're very fast, but the subtleties of a car that really excites you are missing from a Tesla. The way they handle, the way they ride, the way they drive, some of the way they're put together is disappointing. So when Porsche turns up to do it, I get excited.
Yeah, so leading on to my next question. So what does the Taycan do that other electric cars don't?
It works on several levels. First of all, it excites you about the future because it shows that when a company like Porsche gets hold of this technology, they can give you something that you want to drive. From the moment you get in it, it feels like a Porsche. The control weights feel like a Porsche. It can ride and handle properly. It's hugely impressive. My first observation in the UK is the Turbo S is too much. It's too fast because you're out of sync with the other traffic. Every time you try and gas it, you almost rear end the car in front. So I thought it was a bit too quick in a straight line. But compared to
too much power for Chris Harris.
Well, just generally, you don't need that much.
No, it's a fair point.
I think it's the way that it rides and handles. It reminds you that there is an art to making a car drive as a homogeneous whole rather than just being a drag race king. Teslas are great off the line. Don't get me wrong, but the moment you hit the first corner, it's a bit, okay.
That lap time that Stig put in was impressive, right?
And you see the footage? It's so flat.
That was the most exciting lap I've seen in a while because he's 2.3 tons. He's probably a bit of oversteer, a bit of understeer, but he's got all that grunt. That was impressive.
It's an interesting car because it showcases what's going to come, and I think that's exciting. It's a frustrating car on many levels because you know what could be possible right now, but you get the feeling they're just holding back a bit for the one after this and the one after that.
Well, it's interesting because as a barometer of where electric technology is, this car, so it's got enough space. It's
has it?
Well,
it's a weird size of car. I don't quite understand why.
They're trying to slot it under the Panamera, aren't they? So they don't want to just do an electric.
But they've ended
Panamera
up with something that isn't big enough in the back
for
a normal family. And also this arrangement here, because it looks like a hatchback, it's not. This letterbox here is very, very narrow. The boot's not very big. So is it a genuine M5 replacement? No, it's not.
No, but they're going to do an electric Panamera. We'll come to that in a minute about the future. But basically, so anyway, they've got this car to ride and handle and drive beautifully, but it still only do 250 miles, 200 miles in the real world. It weighs 2.3 tons. That there is the limitation of batteries and motors right now.
It's, I suppose it's like any technology, when it's new and rolled out, it's for rich people. I hate to say it, unless you're absolutely minted and have got access to another car and own a house that has a driveway that you put a charging point in, this won't work for you. It really won't. And Tesla has a huge advantage with the supercharger network because the best thing about using a Tesla on a daily basis is the supercharger network. It's almost more gratifying than the car itself.
It works.
When you plug in, you think, actually, someone's thought about this.
Anyway, the future of Porsche, right? So they've on record said, next Macan's going to be electric. The replacements for the Cayman and Boxster when they come are going to be electric.
That's still, I gather, slightly up for debate, but I think it's going that way.
They're getting towards the point where they're happy to say this is going to happen. Panamera electric, Cayenne electric. So Porsche's heading towards an all-electric company. How important?
Well, it's not, is it? Because the 911 will remain.
That's what I'm going to say. You've got to ring fence it, haven't you? Because imagine all-electric Porsches, and then one day, if they can keep the 911.
Well, they will. I think every car company will be allowed one folly. And Porsche's folly will obviously be the 911. It'll be hybridised, I think, heavily hybridised. And you might be able to get one more GT3 with a normally aspirated engine, but then that's gone. When we talk about this type of car going electric, I'm excited because I like the silence and I love the performance. When we talk about vehicles that are more emotional, it makes me sad. I don't want an electric 911. I've got no interest in it at all.
Yeah, neither do I. But it's almost an opportunity, isn't it? If they can ring fence that, keep that pure, keep naturally aspirated.
They can, but it's going to be massively expensive. I just think it's sad. I really do. And I think the way car companies look at their total emissions, that's the way it works, isn't it? Yeah. As a company, your vehicle range has to hit a certain point. So there's a credit and debit side, and whatever they're using up with the 911 being petrol driven, then the rest of it has to be electric and clean.
Yeah, sure.
But how clean is it? This is the thing. I really worry that legislation and politicians are hoodwinking people into thinking this vehicle is genuinely zero emissions. Well, it's not. Even the most kind research into this vehicle will tell you that it probably needs to do 15,000 miles before you've brought back any of the emissions that you would have used in an equivalent gasoline-powered car. Mm-hmm. The less kind studies are saying 25,000 miles. For some people, that's 5-6 years of use in their car. And where's all the lithium coming from? Where are the heavy metals?
I'm just going to stop you there because we're getting dangerously close to being informative here. So we'll finish on a big question. What's it like to drift?
Oh yeah, that's interesting. So it's not entirely intuitive. It's not as if it suddenly becomes rear-wheel drive. Mm-hmm. If you've ever driven an R34 GTR, it's a bit like that. It's throttle and steering related, the way the four-wheel drive works. So you give it full beans, it throws everything to the rear immediately. Mm-hmm. And then it'll start to bring the front in. Yeah. So if you try and hold it steady state with lock on, it won't work. Yeah. So you have to just feather it, get the wheels straight almost, and like a rally car, it'll just begin to slide. Yeah. There are some big issues with it. One is the tyre just can't deal with it. It's 2.4 tons. So you feel like you're drifting something 700 kilograms, you're not.
Stig lap. All you can hear is the wheels.
Yeah, well we did, after the big slide shots you see in the film on the telly show, the tyres were done. 3 slides, they're done. Okay. So that's a bit of a problem. So they need to develop new tyres to deal with the torque. Mm-hmm. And it's not entirely intuitive, but the engineer that came with the car had a glint in his eye, and the glint to me said, we've just given you a taste of where we're at. And what he did say is, I'm so desperate to show you where we're at right now in development, because the future's going to be great.
All right. Well, we'll be talking about that this time next year.
Hope so. Cheers, boss.